Alright guys, welcome back to Comicgeddon. This week for my recommended reading, Spawn, Resurrection. Spawn kind of went out of style at the turn of the century. I think the last actual comic book issue I bought of Spawn was Spawn number 100, the death of Angela and Malbolgia. That was before Angela was sold off to Marvel Comics, due in part to the lawsuit between Neil Gaiman and Todd McFarlane, because they were both co-creators of Cogway Astro, Medieval Spawn, and Angela. And then after a certain amount of time, Todd just quit sending him checks and said no, due to the copyright of this, same thing Marvel used to pull all the time. This is the Return of Al Simmons. For those of you who don't know, towards the end of Al Simmons' run as Spawn, or at the end of his run as Spawn, he committed suicide, or so we were led to believe. But he actually, because he had godlike powers, he actually put himself in his own hell for penance for all the innocent people he's killed and everything. So we open up with him being crucified. And as you can see, he's in his human form again. I think it was the green that gave him back his...
It's called necroplasm.
No. The green is like a godlike entity from another dimension. They gave him the godlike powers. That gave him back his human form before he committed suicide, I believe. And so God, in the form of his former pet dog, comes and visits him while he's being crucified. And tells him about why God could never really get involved. And what's going on with Wanda and their unborn child. Because I guess whenever Al and Wanda were married back before Al got killed by Chapel, they had conceived a child but miscarried. And so somehow Wanda and the unborn child souls ended up in hell. And the only way God could protect them, because God can't enter hell for some reason. God had to basically build this house around them and keep it sealed from demons. So they couldn't enter for a period of time. Now, after a certain period of time, they could finally enter, but this actually has more to do with the beginning part of this. After this, I believe, is the Satan Wars, and then where Al Simmons goes after Satan himself. And then I think it's Armageddon or something like that. Or maybe Armageddon happened before. I can't remember. It's like I said, the last actual issue I bought was 100. So I'm still iffy. I'm getting all caught up and everything. Because I did really like Spawn growing up. If there was no Spawn, there would be no Walking Dead now. Because Spawn really paved the way for the more graphic, more violent comics. In this, Spawn is given the sword of God to go and destroy Satan and all his followers, because God can't actually interfere himself. I think it's actually revealed that the dog isn't actually God, but the mother, because God and Satan are... Alright, so I don't have a whole lot of time left to talk. I just had to delete some stuff from my phone in order to be able to film this part. But basically, Spawn has to go and try and save Wanda and their unborn child's souls. He ends up going to his father, who they don't really have the best relationship because his father abandoned him as a kid. His father is dead. He just died when Spawn came to visit him. He's got to get his dad safely from the hospital to his judgment. And then after that, Spawn doesn't care what happens to him, And so he's got to fight off all these Reapers and everything. a demon and an angel both try to get Spawn to change time, but they do it in a tricky way. One angel, I think it's Gabriel, takes him back to the Titanic and says, all you'd have to do is save this father and his son, and Spawn's like, I know what you're trying to do. I'm not going to play into these games because if I go back and change something, I could have never met Wanda. So why would I try to save someone I never met in hell? So it's one of those things. And he is actually accompanied by the Archangel Michael, who has clipped his wings. He's now in human form in order to better serve God. I just read this. I ordered it off of Amazon. I really like it. I really like Spawn. I think he's gotten a little too underrated. I think people got tired of him afterwards. But the artwork is great. It's not your typical Todd McFarlane artwork. It's very bright. It's not as gruesome as the artwork used to be. Spawn is a lot like a symbiote now. He's got the teeth, the jaws, and everything. It is revealed that the Spawn suit is, we always knew it was a symbiote from hell, but what we didn't know until this was that the suit was actually created from the innocent souls of the people that Spawn killed when he was alive. Any innocent person Al Simmons killed, their soul went into making K7 Letha. That's Letha of the 7th house of K.
They're making the suit.
Yeah. And over time, the suit continued to evolve and evolve, until now it's at its current point. Overall, I would give this an 8 out of 10. I say 8 out of 10 because if you stopped reading Spawn a while back, you're not up to date on why he's in this, being crucified at the beginning and how he got his human form back and all that. But other than that, it's a great story. I highly suggest reading it. It's from McFarlane, Jenkins, and John Boy. That's Todd McFarlane, Paul Jenkins, and John Boy, whoever that is. And I believe the only date I have in here is November 2015, so I think it's a fairly recent graphic novel, very recent story. John doesn't know he has lost track of Spawn as well. I'm just starting to get back into it.
I literally probably stopped after like issue 10.
I stopped after issue 100, so. But yeah,
I tried keeping up, like through wiki and whatnot. So
it's a great story. I highly suggest picking it up. You can also go back and read to get caught up, the collections, the Spawn Volume 1, 2, 3. I think it goes all the way up to Spawn Volume 6. And then they redid it to where now it's Spawn Origins, and that goes all the way up to number 20, which number 20 picks up where Volume 6 leaves off. But one thing the Spawn Origins has that the Spawn collection, the original Spawn collection doesn't, was issue number 9.
And 10.
No, it does not have 10.
It doesn't have 10.
No, it has number 9. Which, for those of you who don't know, issue number 9 is the first appearance of Angela, medieval Spawn, and was it Cogliastro, or did he come in soon?
He came out like the first issue.
Okay. And issue number 10 was when Spawn traveled through dimensions with this little animal-looking creature.
Cerebus.
Yeah, Cerebus, his spirit guide or whatever. Great stories. Spawn takes on the KKK. Spawn takes on a child abuser, a child killer. Just so much that...
The Mafia.
Yeah, the Mafia. Todd McFarlane did a great job with the earlier issues, and then it started getting away from the more natural things that you'd want to see a superhero go after, or even an anti-hero go after. It became more heaven versus hell type shit, and God, or Spawn being godlike and everything. But yeah, go out, pick this up. It's a good starting off point if you want to get into the new Spawn. I highly recommend it. I think I bought it for like $6 on Amazon. So, yep, that's Spawn Resurrection.